Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Horse Center. This is one of the most exciting nights that we have ever had on this show, in my opinion. I am Wild Jamie, my wonderful co-host. Uh-oh, you can't hear? Oh, no. Can you hear me, Sean?
I hear you. So this is that same thing that it always does to us.
Okay, can you
go out, come back in?
Text her, maybe. Sorry, everyone, just having a minor technical difficulty as we get started here. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Okay.
You know what we didn't do? You know what we didn't do? But you said, do we have to go over something? That was it. That was it.
Every time. Every time. We got to do that every single time that we tell someone, just be aware it doesn't happen. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Now I can hear you.
Yay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So I was just saying, this is one of the most exciting nights we have ever had on this show. I am absolutely thrilled to welcome our special guest tonight, the first woman trainer to win an American Triple Crown race. Not a big deal at all. Jena Antonucci, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
No, thank you so much for being here. We know that you are incredibly busy considering everything going on, but we are so excited to pick your brain.
Thanks.
So I just don't know how you and I have not crossed paths, because as I was going through your history researching this episode, I was surprised to see that you won your very first race in Tampa Bay Downs. You've been in Ocala, Florida. These are like all my home territory. I don't know how I've missed you, but let's go clear back to the beginning. How did you get your start in racing?
It really wasn't a charted planned path. It was I think things just evolve and happen. And, sometimes you push back on certain paths thinking, I don't need to do that, or that's not for me. And so it has been an evolution of stop fighting it more than anything else. But grew up riding show horses and was curious about, the race horses becoming show horses and how they learn things and why and what, and how come when you ask left, they're going right and they just didn't have good sides, and just some of the little details of riding, of just wanting to understand better. And so went and got a job learning the whole training and developing process, and just got bit by it. Love the speed, love the athleticism, and just what it meant to really start a horse out from the very beginning was just really a great journey and to be part of. And it just kind of evolved over the years, and let the industry kind of take me in the directions that it was going at the time, and here we are, winning the Belmont.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how exciting. So I saw that you've done a lot of things, really, but you worked as a veterinary assistant for several years. I mean, how do you think that has helped you?
I think when you take a lot of layers and you're able to kind of put them together, you look at things from a different point of view, and you can't look at things just through one optic. And so I think looking at things from a veterinary perspective and understanding, I've done a ton of mare work and foals and weanlings and yearlings. And so you're watching horses develop and going through that process, and then watching it from a veterinary point of view as well, from the sales ring, to homebreds. You take a different appreciation for a horse, and you store so much stuff and don't even realize it. And then all of a sudden you're tapping into those resources, years later or decades later. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that one horse that you had that one odd experience with. And now all of a sudden you're looking at something from a point of view you may never have.
Very cool. And I saw that you also worked with someone we call the coach in the industry, D. Wayne Lucas. So I'm sure that he taught you a ton. What was that like?
I was underneath his program. Honestly, he wasn't at the farm a ton. Todd Quast, who is Andy Pope's right hand now, he's one who ran the program at Padua. And so I was underneath their program and just learning so many nuances from the program, as far as just the organization and the level of expectation, and, never cutting the corner. All of those things I've said forever are something that Wayne has done phenomenally over the decades, and has obviously very much imprinted in the people that have come through his program. And so to have the opportunity to have that exposure, invaluable.
Yes. And I love this comment from Grandma Horse Racing. I'm losing my mind. Love what Jena has accomplished. Yes, I know. I'm going to try not to fangirl too much, you guys, but it's going to be challenging. Sean, how are you tonight?
I'm great, and I'm just as excited as the rest of us with Jena on here. So let's go back to Arcangelo as well in the beginning with the horse. And when did you realize you might have something there?
I'm always so careful on that because, as we all know, we can see amazing things happen in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you're like, where did that go? That thing breathed really good this morning, and where did it show up this afternoon? And so we really just try to stay, in the pocket with him and let the works bring him along and let him learn how to be a racehorse in the afternoon. And I think where it started to flicker for us was how he won his maiden race, where it just seemed like he found that a gear in the sense of just got low and opened his step up and figured out, ooh, this is kind of cool as he, ran past the field down in the middle of the stretch. So I think that was when he kind of started to put it together, just being that immature kid that he was. And it meant something to him in the afternoon. And that's the first time I think we saw that it really meant something to him in the afternoon.
And then winning the Belmont Stakes, were you like, oh my God, this is real. This might actually happen?
There was a lot of beeping going on that deep stretch. Yeah, I think the last probably like 16th, when you're watching it, no one's coming. That was kind of when that was the oh my God moment of, oh my gosh, they're actually not going to come and run us down deep stretch here and get an ugly beat at the wire. And that was the hyperventilating, need a brown bag moment.
And how cool was it that you had America's Best Racing? How did that go into?
That was a complete, kudos to them. They have done this before with other trainers, and they had reached out earlier in the week. And I talked to the team because, we're not always the most filtered group. And so, everyone that was going to be around my world and our bubble that day was comfortable that they might be on camera, or that, we were mindful and, make sure that we were as appropriate as possible and whatnot. So kudos to them that they were part of such an amazing day for all of us. And I'm grateful to have that kind of footage of such an amazing day for us and for the horse and for the sport.
And now you're really known with that saying about making your own seat at the table. Was that something you thought about in the beginning, or did that kind of all just, some people when they go, if I win, this is what I'm going to say, or was that just, flow of the moment?
I'm not nearly that bold. I've said a couple of times it was the most filtered version of all of the things that were going through my head. You reach a lot of adversity in life, in this business and in any business you want to excel at. And so I think it was a very honest answer to a lot of doors not being open that you had asked to be opened or tried or pushed or called. And, plenty of no's throughout life in this industry and others where it's just a 2-letter word. And so it was just, that several years ago just started to make, you make it, and it's not going to happen overnight. And you start building that table and putting people around you that are your people and that are going to dig and fight and claw and do and put the horse first as a huge focus for us. And then all of a sudden here we are, and we've got this amazing team and we've got an amazing opportunity with this horse. And so I'll try my best to stay out of his way and not screw it up.
Yeah. And what a year for Javier Castellano as well. Just coming off the George Wolf Award win, making this huge comeback. I mean, how cool was it to share this moment with him also?
Fantastic. And it's been a lot of fun, and, his family's wonderful as well. Brady was out this morning with Abby, his wife. And so, it's fun to watch them lean in from a family point of view too, and make memories. That's the end of the day. You can accumulate stuff and win stuff, but it's the memories that, that last a lifetime. And so it's pretty cool to be part of that journey with them as well.
That is so cool. Now, in researching this episode, this was so much fun to do, I have to say. Like I said, I'm going to try not to fangirl, but
you're going to probably know more than I do.
But you're really such an inspiration. I myself, forever ago, trained horses at really small tracks, and just to see someone raised to your caliber as a woman, it's just really phenomenal, because it really is a male-dominated industry. I mean, women are making strides, but there's really kind of a glass ceiling where you'll see a lot of women at this level, but almost no one at this level, so it's just really, really inspiring to see that, next level taken there. So I saw on your website, you said, I'm never going to be a 200 horse person. And I was just curious, do you want to stick by that? I'm sure your phone has been ringing off the hook.
We're not going to, I think I've always said I'm super thankful I didn't deep dive the thoroughbred industry in my early 20s, and that I had a lot of life experience kind of before really focusing in on doing the racing part. And I enjoy having relationships with my horses and the people that are doing this lifestyle together. And so we have an exposure with mares and weanlings and yearlings, but from a racing point of view, we're going to keep it tidy. I don't want to work for a-holes. I want to enjoy, the people that we have around us and the relationships that we've built with those people. And so we'll stay focused on what has worked for us. And every opportunity is a blessing, and we'll make the most out of each opportunity.
That's a big topic too. What do you think of the whole super trainers, or like the other day, Chad Brown having 4 of the 5 horses? Like, what do you think about it, and how do we prevent that type of thing?
It's, everyone has, excuse me, there's space for everybody in this industry. And we all deal with stress at any level. So I think when you're looking at it from a logical point of view, it's a very fascinating industry, because everyone has a very impassioned position about where they come from and their point of view. And so I think it's always important to respect where they're coming from. By far, you need to have a handful of the big guys, and their job is to produce, period. And if they're not producing, they're gone. We've watched plenty of big trainers dwindle over the years. I'm a fan of the Japan racing program. Yes, there's a lot of government, regulation and oversight on what they do, which makes people nervous, but it works for them. They have a very healthy business model. They have a restricted trainer pool. They have restricted trainer numbers. And so I think we can find a balance between one trainer having 200 and one trainer having 5. And if it's the bigger trainers working a little bit better with the smaller guys to say, hey, listen, owner A or owner B, this horse isn't going to fit my program, and that's okay. But it'll fit this person's program, and they're going to do a phenomenal job for you. We'll stay in touch on it. And I think if we can build up a little bit more of the camaraderie that used to exist, and there was a time where that would happen, and it happened often, and it happened a lot in New York back in the day. And so I think we've lost a little bit of that in the spirit of just competitiveness and wanting to be the best and the biggest. And it's free market. You can't tell people what and where to go. But if you incentivize people the right way and reward good behavior, I think you'll see a shift.
Yeah, I just have to read this comment. This is great from Rich. Very few people get to make history. You made history, forever the first woman to win a Triple Crown race. How does it feel to know as long as the Triple Crown exists, your name will be mentioned?
Yeah, it's been a thing. We've talked a lot about this, and Katie, Miranda, and myself, who's my business partner with Horseology, we've talked a lot about this the last couple of weeks, because I didn't walk into this experience or this race with any of that in mind. And that made people, oh, sure, yeah, you did. Really, I didn't. We ran to the Belmont, and I've said long and many times that whatever this horse does, I will be very grateful for, because I'm attached to what this horse accomplishes. But with that said, I grew up with women trainers. My first 3 trainers from the time before I was 4 years old, all the way up through my junior career, there were always women trainers. The show horse world is primarily women trainers with men as assistants. And so it was never an optic of mine ever in this industry to be like, oh no, I'm a woman, I can't do this or I can't do that. Like subconsciously and subliminally, I had seen women leading their horse businesses. And so it was maybe a little bit of naivete in how I just perceived it and just marched along doing it, getting, browbeat along the way. But I'm grateful for it. It's an absolute honor to represent any part of the industry. And hopefully we just keep doing people proud.
Yeah. And you're such a wonderful representation of that. I just love your horsemanship. It just shines through how much you look at the horse as an individual and kind of tailor what you're doing to that horse, rather than this is my program, fit in or don't. Yeah. We've got a really great comment here. I love this. From Ross Blacker. Tell Jena I was the guy who she saw on Belmont Day before she went on with Fox around 12:30. I was smoking a cigar. I wound up losing the pick 5 because I left Arcangelo out.
Yeah, I've told his story a couple times now. What was his name?
Ross Blacker. Oh, he says, she mentioned me on Vic's show.
I did. Yep, I was the no name. I was the no 8%er that he mentioned. So
Oh,
finally.
Oh, full circle moment here.
And I will say, like, and listen, when you're a smaller trainer by numbers, it's statistically impossible to erase a loss. And that's, I think, part of, what we're talking about with the big trainer, little trainer. I think the biggest mistake we make is by trying to judge everyone on the same scale. And it is impossible. If I have a horse run a great second, I cannot come back with 5 others and delete it to keep my win percentage higher. And so I think it's an important thing to look at with smaller trainers of how do horses do when they leave their program? How do horses go on? Do they go on? And really, people got to do their work a little bit. But with regards to Ross, yes, I was the no-namer that he left off his ticket. So
he says, "I'll buy you a drink at Saratoga when I see you."
there you go.
And
I think Ross, unfortunately, will remember my name forever now. Sorry.
And actually, I think that this is a great, where did it go? Oh, okay. This is a great point right here from Grandma Horse Racing. Can you overlook a potentially great horse if you have 200? I think that's great what you're saying there as far as, look at how the horses do when they leave your program, when they enter your program versus just here's the numbers.
Yeah, and that's where I think it's bigger trainers being more brave and agents and bloodstock advisors being more brave, saying that this is just not working here. And it's not a knock to those. Listen, I'm friendly with all of them. They've been wonderful to me for decade plus. So it's not like this is a new thing where I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Jena. Nice to meet you. I have a rapport with them. And I think I do some layups for them. I do rehab work for some of them. And, we have a camaraderie there. But I think when they can own their space and say, these 10 horses over here, they're not going to flourish in my program because it's just not what we do. That is okay. It's not. And, and it is, I think it's being brave enough to say, listen, we need to shift some of these here and some of these there. And it's the right thing for the horse. And, as some of these things keep changing and evolving, we're really trying to put preventative things in place more than chasing things. And so hopefully that'll continue to resonate and we start to see some of those shifts.
Absolutely. And what you're mentioning there about the percentage and stuff, we pride ourselves here. So I kind of felt hypocritical when I texted you Belmont Day because we always try to get the people that some other people might not want. So we wish we would have had you on before, but we're glad you're here now because then you get the request that 1 million people want you. You know what I mean? So how has that changed as far as people wanting you to be the trainer, the fans, everything else? I'm sure that's switched overnight.
The trainer part hasn't evolved a ton. We've picked up a couple of things that we know are coming in and whatnot. And again, I'm not chasing it either. I'm grateful for what we have. Obviously, you just want to hope to continue to upgrade your stock a little bit so you can be more competitive on more Saturdays than say Wednesdays. And all of those are gifts. And like I said, we will continue to take our time with that. The layer that I probably could have never expected is the general public in and out of racing. And so that's the part that's been a little bit of a, whoa, okay, that's a thing now, and, acknowledging it. And I'm grateful for it and appreciative, and people want to tell you their story and what it means to them. And it may not be my point of view or my optic, but I am so grateful for theirs, and that what we have done and our team has done and our horse has done means so much to their journey.
Now, Arcangelo breezed today at Saratoga. Talk a little bit about that and what's next for him.
No, it was pretty. It was a great work. Javier was itching to get out there for a spin. And so, all went really well, really to plan. It was, go and breeze the horse you have. I'm not a huge, everyone's head's going to explode. I'm not a huge stopwatch person. I literally ran my first races off the farm and got calls. You didn't turn any works in. I'm like, works? What are you talking about? The horse breezed phenomenally. So I think, when you're a little bit smaller and you have more of that feel, when Javier and I spoke before the breeze, I said, listen, you can go out there and breeze 58 or you can go out there and breeze 102. But if you breeze in 102, I'm not gonna be able to keep his feet on the ground until his next work. You've got to let him have his space. People are always gonna have an opinion about a time. We can make it, a time is arbitrary. You can make it as fast or as slow as you want. And so it's just with this horse and his space and who he is, he has to have his breathing room to do his thing. And so today it was obviously, I think XBTV just put up their work, and we had put up one earlier. He was very much within himself. Javier had a blast. He had no idea how fast he went. And that was perfect. He's like, it felt, when he can go through and tell me what he feels, that's what I want to know. Because that's where I know if I have to shift gears, back up, go more. And so we're going to stay focused on doing us and let the white noise chatter away. And hey, if they're talking about our sport and talking about a horse, then they're engaged, and that's wonderful.
Awesome. So obviously you've hit a incredible milestone that no one else has hit, but what are some other goals that you have?
I'm very atypical in this conversation. I'm very careful on setting goals for two reasons. One, they can be very limiting, and two, can be very disappointing. Disappointing in the fact of once you've accomplished it, then what? And so I think it's really important. And this is, again, just, I'm not 100, but I'm in my late 40s now. And it's really the journey of doing this and making sure you're enjoying the relationships with people around you and the horses that are around you, and trying to find the balance with all of that. Our goal and my goal is always to just be as focused as we can be on what the next target is. And whatever accomplishments and goals come with that are going to just be, cake and bonus for us.
Wonderful. I just love that whole mindset. So this kind of goes along with that. What are you most proud of that you do in this industry?
Transparency, all the aftercare efforts. My team is my family. That I think those probably be my top three. Have I done everything perfect? No, by no means have I. But we get up every day with the intention of doing the absolute best we can by our horses, and so. At the end of the day, it's how you treat people. And that's the most important part of what we do.
Very cool.
With the future of the sport and stuff, you seem to be a good person to ask because you have a lot of good ideas and have the passion for the sport. But like with Golden Gate camps, closing and stuff like that, what are some of the things that you would like to see the sport do that they are not doing at the moment?
That's a tough one. I mean, change is inevitable. And we love to rest our laurels on the history of things because it makes us comfortable. As humans, we love to put things in boxes that make us comfortable to label and identify. And this is where this goes. And so I just think we need to continue to come together as a sport and not be so fractured. I am a supporter of the idea of like the NTRA being like, the NFL commission, to a certain regard, and letting them have to answer all the hard things and let the HISAs of the world do all the regulatory aspects of things. So I think we just have to find our legs with some of that, and people have to find their way. I'm not pro HISA, against HISA, pro this, against this. I'm a common sense person. And if we can continue to find our footing with some of this stuff and find the balance with these things, we'll be just fine.
Yeah, we actually said that before HISA that, if you did things like New York, Kentucky, the bigger tracks, why every other track don't follow that way, we never understood. And then HISA comes in and kind of forces everybody's hand.
Yeah, I mean, we were floundering. And so, has it been a perfect rollout? No. But they're continuing to evolve and shift their sales as they get to different bumps in the road. Oh, that's probably needs to be this or that. And instead of, as an industry, us going, God, they just don't know what they're doing. They're blowing all this up. Let's lean in to find solutions. It's so easy to tear everything apart. But, I think we have shown through decades that continuing down that path has kind of gotten us to where we are. And so unless someone has some miracle thing in their pocket, we don't really have much of a choice at this point.
Yeah. So what is your favorite part of your job as a trainer?
Sleeping.
It's probably what you see the least of.
The relationship with the horse, when one, taps in and you're there, and it's just really cool. It's really that simple. And sleeping.
Right. So on the flip side of that, what is the most difficult part of being a trainer?
Owners.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
You're managing expectations. And, there's an element of us that's an entertainment industry. And we have owners that aren't buying season tickets, maybe for a stadium for this team or that team. And they want to invest in this sport. It's very interactive. They get to be part of it. They get to be the coach and the input. And so, it's sometimes just finding a balance with all of that. And, obviously when your races don't go, having to be that communication link of why and what, and listening to them. You know, they're paying the bills. So that's often the hardest part. And again, coming back to my previous statement of just wanting to work with good people that get it and understand that we're all trying to row in the same direction.
Sure. We've got a fun comment here from Grandma Horse Racing. Ask her about the Philly on Philly theory. So Grandma Horse Racing is a regular watcher of our show, and she has a theory that women do better with female horses than men do, whether it's riding, training, whatever. I mean, do you see any validity to that?
I can definitely appreciate where she's coming from. No. I roll the texting in my head of like, I definitely can appreciate where, you know, the idea of that. And I think, you know, obviously there's a lot of thought that women are just more intuitive and maybe, you know, more emotional. And I think the stigmatism that women got before is, you know, women are so soft. They don't train their horses enough. You got to train them harder. And so I think that tone has softened and shifted. And I mean, Steve Asmussen did a hell of a job with Rachel. So it's hard to, she was a machine, and, you know, John Sheriff's with Zenyatta. So, I mean, you think of some of the greats and stuff, it's hard to just label that with one foul swoop. I think, you know, women probably do a really good job with horses that need a little bit of extra loving, maybe. And that might be just a smaller program too.
True. I like that answer.
So every fan's kind of looking for the Arcangelo Mage maybe showdown. Did you guys ever talk about that? And what's Javier going to do at that point?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna. You know, it's fun for people to talk about, and like I said, that's great. They're talking. Let them, you know, chatter and talk and lean into what we're doing, and it gives them something to water cooler about, and that's important. You know, what's going to happen is already predetermined, in my opinion. So we're just along for the ride. And I told Dave Grenning today, you know, if Javier can't, there'll be someone hanging on to him, you know, come his next race. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and it's one of those, it's really not a problem for Javier. He gets the choice of best of both worlds, right?
It's just not a problem. You get to a point where someone's going to get on him. It's, you know, he's not going to go in there to 100-1 in his next start.
Yeah. So. I don't think he'll have trouble finding a rider.
I think Javier's an excellent fit for the horse for a lot of reasons, which I haven't been shy about, but I'm going to let those waters stay unmurkied by me.
Sure. Well, that's the other, do you bet on your horses? And did you bet on the Belmont Stakes? No.
Don't bet. I was always taught, don't bet what you can't lose. And I train horses, so I can't lose.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I never bet. Everyone makes fun of me. I never bet. I never handicap. I'm like, I want this horse to win, but I'm not going to put my money on it.
I know how to, and I know how to read the form, and, you know, I can handicap a race quite fine, but no, not my bag.
Fair enough. So what would your advice be, especially to young women, of course, but any young person wanting to enter the industry?
Don't. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Okay.
No. You know, I think the biggest thing is if you want to be in this industry, you need to be committed, and not to a sane asylum, just committed to your craft and your trade, and understand what the commitment is to this and the dedication. And, you know, I can think of many have shortened holidays or missed holidays and those kinds of things. And it's a lifestyle. It's not just a job. And so, understand who you are. And like I said, I'm thrilled I came in, you know, not as a young 20, because just knowing more who I was coming into this industry is so consuming that people can lose their way, women or men, that just know who you are. And if it doesn't feel right, then, you know, it's not right, and stick to your guns on being who you are.
Awesome.
Are there any other horses in your barn that you're awfully excited about?
See when they hit the gates, huh? We've got some cool young, some 2-year-olds, some down in Florida that'll be starting back up here. But yeah, we have a handful that are coming along that, you know, we didn't sell through the 2-year-old sales season, that are developing nicely. And we have a couple, mostly fillies, actually. Ironically, to Grandma's point there, we've got some fillies that are developing out that look to be pretty nice.
So I read somewhere that you got Arcangelo in a sale, and that he just like wasn't super impressive right away, being a May foal, you know, a little bit younger than a lot of the other ones. Was there something that stood out to you where you were like, yes, I want to work with this horse?
John Ebert actually picked his horse out almost on a whim. He was walking by and he caught his eye and he went back, and he had done some breeding previously, and the horse just really reminded him of some of the Unbridled Song stuff that he had seen, where he's like, I know where this horse is going to end up. So he came down to us in the beginning of his 2-year-old year. He had been started by up by in the Carolinas, and I'm having a mind blank this second. The name will pop back in my head, and it's terrible. And then came down to us, and then we kind of started him back up again and did some of the things that we do, just with some ground driving and some of the fundamentals that we like to put in young horses, and went on with it then in Ocala. But Clovis Crane, there we go. I knew it would happen. Clovis Crane had him initially straight out of the sale for the first couple months, and then we got him.
Okay, very cool. Very cool horse.
PA connection comes from. I'm from Pennsylvania, so yeah, those names ring the bell.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we're already over half an hour. Go ahead, Sean. I know you've got questions brewing. I can see it there.
Well, I'll ask one. When you're not doing horse racing and you're not sleeping cannot be the answer. What do you do for fun?
I enjoy anything kind of outdoors. I used to be quite an avid golfer. That hasn't happened nearly as much as it should. And I'm pretty outdoorsy. So anything outdoors related or napping, which doesn't happen enough either, would be awesome.
Then the only other thing I have to say, and I'm sure this ain't the first time you heard it, and it's not to be the last time. We had trainers and jockeys on. We kind of got away from the trainers because trainers are kind of boring. You are not boring. So you got that going for you.
Very witty.
Not many trainers are entertaining. They're very business-like.
That's true. That's trtrue.
You're business and very you got personality too.
I'm a mullet.
Appreciate
it. The front, Cardi in the back. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I was noticing that too. I'm like, this girl is hilarious. Oh, there we go. All right. Anything else that you'd like to say, Sean? Or?
No, that's it. Wish you luck the rest of the year and in your career, and hopefully everything works out and you just continue to make a name for yourself.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yes. And let me just say thank you as a woman who's been in this industry my entire life. Both of my parents were jockeys. You are such an incredible inspiration. What you did is absolutely dramatic and fantastic and wonderful. And I cannot wait to see where you go next.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, you have a good night and get some sleep. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. She was hilarious.
Yeah.
Cracking me up the whole time.
Yeah. I've seen other interviews too. And you could tell, besides, winning the Belmont and stuff like that,
Okay.
She's got a personality. She can be interviewed. Some trainers, they're all about the numbers and just going with the flow with the normal and just doesn't provide a good show.
Yeah.
But she definitely did.
She's very quick-witted for sure. Very sharp on the draw there. And then also just genuine. I love it when we have guests on who just kind of tell it like it is. They're not trying to like sugarcoat it or play politician. They're just like, it is what it is, So.
Honestly, 100%. When something happens like her winning the Belmont and there's thousands of people lining up, and now I've never reached out to her, and I got to be that 1,001st person to send her a text. I feel so hypocritical because that's not what we're about. Like, we would have loved to have Jena on before she won the Belmont Stakes.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
But it's also hard because we also, like, I know you and I discussed, like, oh, we don't want to bother them. We know they're really busy right now. Like the Belmont's, you know what I mean? So
no, I know, but I'm saying even before all that, like we would have loved to have Jena on. It just all never got to it, and then now she's a star. And now I gotta send that text and be a bother like 1,000 of other people. You know what I mean? And then you kind of feel hypocritical. It's like, I want you on the show because you won the Belmont Stakes, but I also would have taken you on the show before you won the Belmont Stakes.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love, because she also did some interviews before she won the Belmont, and then her website. It's all good stuff. You know what I mean? Like you can just tell she is an incredible horse person, that she is so dedicated, like definitely a high quality guest, totally aside from the Belmont, but being the first woman trainer to win a Triple Crown race.
Yeah.
That's
And then coming out with that quote and it just all being done,
Right.
like I would have never been that creative to be able to.
I would have just
I'm
been
sure
like,
it would have something would have got me in trouble, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right, yeah. You would have gotten in trouble and I just would have been like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Grandma Horse Racing. And what have we got going on, Sean?
So tomorrow we got a new jockey, Matilda Burnham. She won a couple of races at Pleasanton. Hasn't rode much, but she has a few wins already, so she's already showing talent. And then Wednesday we have Clerk of the Scales, Danny Hamilton.
Yes. And he is full of personality as well. Just you can tell by the first picture that he sent us. I'm definitely going to have to bring that up on the show. That was highly entertaining.
And he's the first Clerk of Scales we'll have on, so we'll find out a lot about that job. So.
Oh, yeah. There's so many things that go on in the jocks room before the race and whatnot. And hopefully we'll be able to find more guests to show you behind the scenes sneak peeks of all of those, because it's interesting. It's a fun place. Definitely a lot of cool things go on there. Sorry, my kids are running in the background. It's really hard for me to focus right now, but thank you so much for all of you. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, one other thing, obviously, Andre Ramjeet, Julie's husband, was injured. Race 1 at Charlestown on Friday.
Right.
I believe it was Friday. There is a GoFundMe on our page that if you want to go help, or if you can't help, at least share, get the word out. He's going to be out for quite a while, and he was their income. So, it's one of those things that we talk about all the time. And unfortunately, it hit home right now. So,
and we had him on the show not too long ago. What a wonderful person, so incredibly dedicated to his family. And it's just so sad because every time his career gets rolling, it seems something like this pops up, and he's been doing really well. So we hate to see this happen, but definitely.
And it came at the wrong time too. They had, the issue with their daughter and had to get everything worked out.
Right.
And then he had a really good week, and then he was still winning, and then this happens, and it's another setback. So, just unfortunate. And
that is the life of these professional athletes. It is not easy. It's not all fun and games and making a bunch of money. It's actually quite the opposite. It's a lot of struggle. So hopefully we'll see what happens, but definitely sending healing vibes his way. Please check out that GoFundMe if you're able to donate, or just share. Like Sean said, the more eyes we have on it, the more attention we can bring to the situation, and hopefully the more help we can send their way. Sorry about my kids, guys.
It's okay.
Okay. All right. So that takes us wire to wire tonight on Horse Center. And I really do want to thank you guys. We had so many awesome comments, so many interactions. I couldn't get to all of them because everyone wanted to talk to Jena. So I apologize if I did not get to your comment. It's just because there were so many. But we really, really love all of that input. That is wonderful. And we hope to keep seeing you in our live feeds, these live shows. It makes it so much more fun for Sean and I, and for the guests too, because they love to see, the public kind of asking their questions and bringing up their points of view. So please keep that up. Do not forget to subscribe, like, follow, share, all the good stuff. We are Horse Race, the number 2 day on pretty much every social media except YouTube, which it looks like most of you are already watching on YouTube, so you see us there. So please check us out on the other social media platforms as well. Sean handles a bunch of our social media and does a fabulous job with that. And it looks like we've got another Jockey Survivor contest coming up, huh?
Yeah, that will start Thursday, and we're going to do Saratoga and Del Mar only. Thursday is just Saratoga running, so you're going to pick a jockey from Saratoga. You can only use a jockey once, and they got to win, otherwise you're eliminated. We're doing $10 to enter, and it's going to go to aftercare programs. We could have probably, if we didn't announce it before, we could have probably switched it up and done something for Andre. Obviously, down the line, once we do this first one, we can do for other causes as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
None of the money will go to us or anything like that, or running the contest or anything like that. It's going to all go to aftercare. So it's $10 to enter. I'm working on prizes. It's basically going to be jockey sign stuff. Maybe gloves, maybe goggles. It might be a whip or two in there. So, and so we'll start that on Thursday. There's a link on the site, on the websites, socials as well, to get involved with that. And I'll keep.
Yes. Please join, because those are a ton of fun. I always miss entering because life, but I enjoy following. Every time it pops up on my feed, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, everybody that's studying loves it. So
yeah, it's very
unfortunately we're doing it was free. Now we're doing the entry, but it's all for a good cause. If we can help with the good cause with the aftercare, I mean, it's $10 to enjoy the fun. So
yeah,
at least we're doing it for a purpose as well now.
Yes, I think that just brings an extra layer of greatness to it. Now I'm like have to make it a point to enter just because I would love to donate to aftercare anyway. So seeing all of those little $10 donations add up to something significant should be very cool. But we really appreciate you guys. Like I said, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Keep an eye out for the Jockey Survivor contest. Please join in, be a part of the fun, and be a part of the solution, helping with the aftercare of these wonderful athletes. And definitely, I think one in the future to help out our friend Andre and their family. So everyone, I hope that you have a wonderful evening. I hope that we see you in all of those places, but most of all, I hope we see you in the
Winner's Circle.
Winner's Circle. Good night, everyone.